Greetings, my name is Tim Moffat, and this is my presentation on my executive summary, which is on Greenpeace and their China Energy Revolution campaign. Founded in 1971 by Canadian and American expats, Greenpeace is an environmentally focused, non-governmentally oriented organization. Greenpeace has stated that its goal is to ensure the ability of the Earth to nurture life in all its diversity. The organization has focused its attention on worldwide issues such as climate change, deforestation, overfishing, commercial whaling, genetic engineering, and anti-nuclear campaigns. Unlike many other organizations, Greenpeace is known for direct action, and because of this has become one of the most recognizable, environmentally focused organizations in the world. Some of their tactics have been scrutinized as being illegal and out of the ordinary, but members argue that such tactics bring the issues they are advocating for more attention. Greenpeace has taken an active role in pursuing an agenda to promote the development and long-term usage of renewable energy in China. Established in 1997, Greenpeace China has been proactive in giving a voice to the growing issue of global warming in the region, due to the country's explosion in growth over the last 20 years. New growth means new construction and infrastructure in the region, and with that, the potential for more pollution. The coal and chemical industry in China has been recognized as one of the most prolific emitters of carbon emissions in the world. As of 2014, China produced 30% of the global emissions from fossil fuel, combustion, and various industrial processes. Please see the attached slide. Through activism, partnership, creative engagement with publics, and awareness campaigns, Greenpeace has been able to establish a rapport with the relative stakeholders in the region to negotiate the drawdown of coal and nuclear energy usage. Greenpeace took an active role as non-governmental participants during negotiations of the Kyoto Protocol in 2005, as well as the Paris Agreement, and has been instrumental in the drawing up of China's 13th five-year plan. This accord points out that Chinese investments in outdated energy modes are not beneficial for the country as a whole and is less cost-efficient in making strides towards renewable energy programs. China is a collectivist society that focuses on masculinity and ranks low in uncertainty avoidance. In some ways, it closely resembles the United States and other Western countries. The fact that it's high in power distance and low on individualism shows where the country differs from other Western countries. Since China has decided to include themselves on the Paris Accord, it shows that Greenpeace's strategies are working with those in charge towards making an impact on a global scale. This means that our target audience should be latent and aware publics, in order to engage them and make them active publics. China is largely a peasant society, whose people have traditionally seen sudden and in some cases violent regime changes. While this may have worked in the past, growing globalization has helped the Chinese people to see the world as bigger beyond their borders, and this growth has facilitated the Chinese government taking an active role in global politics. Appealing to latent and aware publics will be imperative to reinforcing the actions of the government to continue the path towards clean energy in the future. Reinforcing these positive steps will help usher China as a country into the future as a world leader not only on climate change, but helps to build confidence around the world in the future of clean energy. Many Western and European countries have waffled on the idea of switching from coal and chemical energy and have even removed themselves from the conversation. Utilizing the collectivist idea that China must move together towards clean and renewable energy and accentuating the virtuous nature of such a move reinforces the idea that China is a superior culture on the global stage. The fact that China is a hierarchical country and the majority of the population exists in a peasant status does not undermine the fact that, on a whole, the Chinese have a strong sense of pride. By activating latent and aware publics, we normalize the idea of clean and renewable energy across the board and accentuate the pride of the Chinese citizens in having a stake in the future of the world. Greenpeace has utilized creative engagements with many of their campaigns in order to entice the intended publics to get involved with those specific campaigns. For instance, The organization had a person dressed as a polar bear scale the Great Wall to draw attention to the issue of global climate change. Capitalizing on this ground action, a campaign to post propaganda posters and flyers pointing out the duty of the Chinese people to help their government in moving the process towards clean and renewable energy could bring awareness to the focus publics. The tagline can be China, leading the way to a stable tomorrow. Please see the attached slide. If possible, a video of the campaign in action, posting posters all over major city areas, could be uploaded on Youku and IKI, the Chinese version of YouTube, and shared on the Greenpeace site, as well as the campaign's website and BATS pages through MyPay and MiaoPay, Chinese social media and content sharing apps. Please see the attached slides. By monitoring the number of plays, hits the video gets, it can be estimated how effective the campaign is in reaching core audiences. Raising awareness and making people understand the part they play is the first step towards reification. The campaign to raise awareness of the need to support the ensuing infrastructure boom with renewable energy and why that is important may help to sway public opinion and keep the Chinese government on the right track. This has been tested in the past with solar panels in the region, and China has now become the biggest producer of solar panels in the world. Taking advantage of that success with press releases in newspapers and rallies in major parts of the cities brings action to the people in a place where they have rarely had any power. Please see the attached slide. We can use data from a poll in the square to send out mailers to anyone interested. Please see the attached slide. Again, the rallies can be filmed and posted online and shared to pertinent social media sites and monitored for hits to the website and followers on those social media sites. As a growing groundswell of support for the cause continues, corporations will follow suit. Even in China, the goal is to follow a money trail, and if the people want a smog-free, healthy place to live, chances are corporations will follow the trend. Part of the campaign can be people sending in Panda TV and Zongi TV videos, Chinese equivalent of Periscope, of them taking part in the rallies in front of the posters or around places in the city where they see clean energy being utilized. Many of the solar panels utilized in China are planted in the ground or are housed in farming areas outside of the city. This will give the intended audience an idea of what collective action looks like, and collages of the pictures could be utilized in press releases to be distributed to print and television news outlets. While the Chinese do not have the luxury of utilizing traditional social media, their social media outlets reach 2 billion people in a centralized, relevant market. They are essentially a captive audience. It is possibly the best way of generating and sharing content focused primarily to Chinese people available. The campaign can utilize Critical Mention, a clipping service, in order to monitor the shares and original content uploaded via Panda TV and other similar social media content sharing sites available through Chinese social media. We can quantify volume metrics by monitoring the traffic, likes, and shares of the campaign's social media initiatives online, and can utilize the information in order to further the effective facets of the campaign. Focusing on new donors, spikes in Greenpeace memberships, and information such as people who signed up to be part of the Greenpeace email list can be a way to measure value metrics and to determine the overall effectiveness of the campaign on the region. Being that China is a collectivist society and the trend is swaying towards clean and renewable energy, it makes sense to monitor the long-term data of how the country is moving towards the end goal. By utilizing Google Analytics, stateside if possible, and monitoring original hits from various websites in China, likes and shares on social media, and polling the public, one may be able to strategize what's working in the immediate and what areas need to be tweaked in order to reach the target audience. China's collectivism is also helpful in that the latent and aware publics are accustomed to following the leads and trends as dictated by their government. We can utilize this momentum to bring the message of clean energy to people who wouldn't normally bother themselves with the minutiae of state infrastructure. The gist being to get everyone involved and interested in leading the charge against coal and chemical-based energy, which affects everyone. Because the message affects the program publics on a whole, exposure is the key. Blanketing every facet of the Chinese market with the idea that global warming is not only a reality, but is happening currently, we can motivate people to make personal changes on a daily basis in their own lives. Starting with the cities and working out towards more rural communities will be beneficial because the needs of each region are different. What factory workers need and what farmers require, while connected at some point, are vastly different in terms of marketing an answer to climate change by acting locally and affecting change globally. However, taking measures to send representatives to more rural communities and demonstrate the power of wind and hydropower fueled resources will in the long run be beneficial to not only the environment, but those working and living in the rural communities. By using this two-pronged strategy, the message will hopefully pick up speed and catch on virally. Success will come from seeing the actions taken in cities and rural communities being utilized. This has already worked with solar panels, which were initially subsidized by the state. However, the ability for the initial communities to change and to do so in such a short period of time shows the willingness of the Chinese people to strive for better solutions to impending problems. There's a precedent set for this level of change and activism on the ground in mainland China. All that's required is to lead the charge. Based on the precedent set by the solar panel situation, it is possible that China might be on board with helping offset the cost of this endeavor. In sticking with Greenpeace's guerrilla marketing strategies, focusing on Chinese social media for the broader part of the campaign, with print media focused on the urban parts of the country, might cut down on printing costs. By attempting to partner with the government on this campaign, we have the luxury of making sure the message runs in tandem with the intentions of the government, and we can possibly circumvent any miscommunication or ambiguity with the message. Since 2014, China has not increased their carbon footprint and has taken great steps towards rectifying the damage done. Global fossil fuel carbon emissions have seen a zero growth rate in 3 years due largely to China's reduction in coal usage. Making the most of this seemingly staggering about-face is part of the campaign. The fact that making small changes locally can affect big change on a global scale should be proof enough that the campaign is worth funding. By utilizing these social media and creative engagements and getting the public on the side of clean and renewable energy, the trickle down to corporate usage will be imperative. In essence, big corporations in China will be pressured to change infrastructure that is seen as no longer acceptable in the eyes of the public. The hierarchical nature of the country will do most of the job itself. It's a process of informing the public, putting winds in the sails of the government, and squeezing organizations in between into doing the right thing. Alternately, with new construction, it would be wise to emphasize the ways renewable energy programs will save the organizations money in the long run. By incentivizing the move to clean and renewable energy for organizations, we make the case that they have no reason not to make the jump from coal and chemical energy. It's possible to use the Japanese nuclear meltdown at Fukushima as an example of where we do not want to go. In conclusion, the Chinese government is interested in changing the pollution levels of the country and taking a bigger lead on the world stage. It's in the best interest for the Chinese people to help in stoking that fire and living in cleaner areas. Helping to motivate the people to adopt clean and renewable energy sources is the first step to activating the public. We motivate by launching informational, creative messaging campaigns to bring knowledge to the latent and aware publics through social media and public relations, and move outward from city centers into rural communities. We unite the people under a cause and force corporations, holdouts into changing with the times for the betterment of the Chinese people and the earth.